That's close. And I need to do that too. Yay, streaming. Oh. And watch some commercial. Okay. Oh, Arc Extinction. Well, there you go. So, hello everybody, my name is Ose, and today I'm playing on Old Stream Farm using standard setup. Plant growth is slow, withering is on, periodic growing required. All of those are off. Stop and go, braking is off. I'm not sure if I want that off or on. Oh. Okay, yeah, I want that off. So, if you're not yet familiar, so what we have here is Old Stream Farm with just the basic starting equipment. We have a New Holland, 125 horsepower, a Case, 145 horsepower, front loader, shovel. What's that? That's bale spikes? No, pallet fork. JCB with bale spike, New Holland, weather header, Brantner trailer, that's a cultivator, that's my seeder, I've got a truck, a washer, a bee house, that'll be good for money, and a small shack somewhere. Decorative object. So that is what we're starting with. We'll check the map. Ugh. Okay, we start with field 17, 16, grass 11, 9, 10, 8, 7, grass 5, 10, grass 4, whatever that one says, my eyes are going, grass 6 is that, grass 6. Field 1, field 4, grass 2, grass 1, and grass 3. So we've got a lot of grass fields, so I'm thinking we may go for sheep because they're easy to get started. We also need to know what state the fields are in. This one's cultivated, this one's cultivated, this one's cultivated, this one. So they're all just cultivated, none of them been planted. Since they've been cultivated, I don't really want to plough them and then have to cultivate them again. Plus, we don't have a plough. So we are just going with what we've got. We have 15,000 pounds. Okay, we've got 15,000 pounds in Europe. Let's get started. Brantner trailer, tractor. I'm going to open that door because that's the silo unload point. That's as far as that goes. Okay, silo unload point. Yeah, we can put things in silos. I also want to know what can the silo store. To do that, we'll jump in the case. Quick look mod on. This is full of straw. It's awesome. I don't know why that's full of straw, but it is. I have to figure out what can go where. So next time I will be loading the quick load mod for next week, quick load mod for next week, because it does make it easier to drive around. Okay, we can unload straw into the silo. That's not normal for a Giants provided map. I'll take the long way round. So there we have the barn. There's our harvester. There's nothing over here. That's where the pigs would live if we had any. Hi chickens. Okay, I'm going to drive in here and we're going to review what the silos can hold. There we go. So wheat we have some, barley we also have some, canola we have lots, sunflowers, soybeans, corn. We can store grass in the shed. Straw we just put some in, hay we've got some. So we can't store beets or potatoes in here. But we can store everything else. Plus we don't have anything set up. Actually I'm going to leave that in there for now. And what we need to do is start planting stuff. So there's our JCB. I'm not sure I'm going to keep that because I'm not planning to use any bales. There's a little question mark there, so let's jump out and have a look at that. At fountains like these you can refill your water tanks. That's good to know. So, water refill point. Anything over there? No question mark there. I think that's a fertilizer doodad. Anyway, let's get the seeder. Since all our fields have been cultivated, we just want to get seed in the ground as quickly as possible. And this is a seeder that mounts directly to the back of the tractor. There we go. And it's empty. So that's I'm gonna have to move that thing as well. Seeds and fertilizer. Yes, I noticed there was seeds and fertilizer there. I'm going to put this in here for now. Okay, we're done with that. So let's get stuff in the ground so that we can start making money. Because that's the whole point of this. So we'll do that. That's done. Oops. The seed is too high up. Okay, I need a tractor with a front loader and that's not it. It's not going to let me round that. Okay, so that's where we put the JCB. There's nothing there. That's the workshop. So we'll open up the workshop because we will probably be needing that before long. That's our truck. chickens. And there should be a... oh, that's already open. There's gold there, and this is where the eggs appear. And there's my tractor with the front loader. Good grief, does that need a clean. I'm kind of happy that the game has provided us with a couple of crates of fertilizer and seed. Drop that to there. Move forward. There we go. Oops. I'm guessing that's what already in the seeder. Yeah. Okay. We'll put that on the bottom. Well, we can put that back where we got it from, I guess. It won't survive long. As is usual, once you get one of those things out, it never goes back where you want it to. Okay, so it's the other one we want. Go. So that's now full of seed. I guess that's going to be our running around the yard and doing stuff tractor. And since it's dirty, we will give it a quick clean. Don't have to, but a 3-point hitch at the front. I don't think the case has. No. Okay. So we can close the bay doors and restart the engine. I'm not a big fan of this seeder, but it's what we were given, so it's what we're going to use. Because we don't have the money to... that's where the wool appears, okay. And let's get the gate open. Let's smack ourselves in the face with the gate. Okay. So sometimes on a starting map you'll have fields planted or fields ready to harvest and unprepared fields. In this case we don't have any of that, so we are going to wheat Wheat makes hay. I've got a lot of hay. I really don't need wheat. We'll go soybeans because then it uses less seed and it yields a lower density crop. And turn it on and off we go. Get stuck in traffic. Hi Osgley, how you doing? I decided to do something a little bit different today since Farm Sim 19 is coming out in a week or two. Let's get back in the practice of doing everything manually. So I picked a small map. We're just going to be running around trying to make some money. I have no idea how good that row was. Probably left a gap in the middle. I don't know. Hard to tell. It's looking okay. This map is by Black Sheep Modding, and checking on their website they already have pictures of Oldstream Farm for Farm Sim 19, and I must say it does look very nice. There's some minor changes in the entrance area. And it looks like the roads aren't quite as square, junctions, as they are on this version. Go. The other thing with this map is because the fields are so small and the area is so tight, you generally don't want to be using a trailed planter like I use on Rawfolds. I kind of want things that hitch directly to the back of the tractor's 3-point, so that I can more easily control where the equipment's going. And we'll see when I head to the next field how important that's going to be. Lots of vehicles. And there's also problems with telephone wires, and maybe they're electric wires, I don't know. But whatever they are, they get in the way. Now, since we're not using seasons, we can do anything we want whenever we want. We don't have any grass treating equipment. I could do with that tree going away though. I don't have chainsaws or anything like that. But if I don't want to plant all the fields now, I don't have to. And I may have a challenge later, because at the moment this isn't costing me any money because the pallets came with the farm. Once I've used up all this seed and fertilizer, then we're going to have to start paying for stuff. And we have $15,015 at the moment. I do have a bunch of stuff in the silo which I could sell, especially if I don't plan on having any pigs, which I don't, at least not right now. I may just tree is in the way. In fact, all the trees along this entrance way around this field are in the way. So I may just think about chopping them down. Sadly, can't chop down the electric poles or telephone poles or whatever they are. They're always going to be in the way. Missed a couple of bits there. I'm really not going to worry about it. Now, we don't have any fertilizer spreaders, so that means I'm going to be challenged to get full yield from the stuff I'm planting. I have one level of fertilization running because the planter uses or includes a fertilizer distributor within it. So we're planting seeds and fertilizing at the same time, but that's only one level. I need 3 levels to get 30% per application. So at the moment this field would be 130% yield. Hi Pi. The faster you can get stuff in the ground, the faster you can get it harvested, the faster you can make money off it. So we really don't want to delay on that. Oh, high vehicle behind me. We don't have it. Well, we have grass and hay in the barn, so we could actually get sheep whenever we wanted to, and they would be making money by creating wool. I would like to have the ability to replenish that. I don't at the moment, because we don't have the equipment to do it. That will make it interesting next week when we start playing with... We start the same game but with seasons. I will be changing the tractors and equipment we start with, and I'll explain why I do that next week. But with seasons we can't make money immediately with this. Well, we kind of can make money because we have a supply of seeds in the silo, but once those seeds are gone we have no more money. I didn't check to see what level of a loan we have, because that will need to be repaid. Sure. Ask away. We will probably be making some, if I get round to it today. Otherwise, sometime this week we'll be back in Lawfolds, where I am making a bunch of silage in the bunker. But ask your question. Oh, by the way, I do run a 20-second delay on this because I play World of Warships and I really don't want people gaining too much of an advantage if they try and stream snipe. So that's why my responses to everybody is delayed when you chat. Yes, there is equipment you can use to make it easier to compact the silage. And that includes rollers and sort of bulldozer, shovel type things. Now I don't know how effective they are, but it is something that is used in real life. We haven't actually used much seed from this thing, so we're doing okay. As I said, I've got some gaps in this field, but to be perfectly frank, I don't think it's worthwhile going back and filling it in, just for the couple of litres we'll get out of it. Especially since it's more important I get stuff in the ground than it is to make it all nice and pretty. Game speed is set to 5 times. And that was default from the get-go. Adjusted that, and I'll probably run with 5 times next week on seasons as well. Although without seasons there are going to be times where I'm just going to say, right, there's nothing to do for the next 6 hours, we'll fast wind time until the crops are ready or whatever. Generally I try to get, even not playing seasons, I try to get as many of my fields running at the same time as possible, so it's sort of, okay, plant all the seed fields now, fertilise them tomorrow, fertilise them the day after, harvest them the day after that, or however the time works out. But it does mean I just need one piece of equipment at a time, rather than, oh, I need the tractor here, I need the harvester over there, I need something else over there. And with seasons you're kind of forced to do that. But regular play, not so much. Right, this is Oldstream Farm. It's a map by Black Sheep Modding, and if you Google Black Sheep Modding and go to their website, which is www.blacksheep-modding.com, you will see some pictures of this farm as it will appear in Farm Sim 19. Now, I don't know how close they are to having that done. But it does look very much like this one, although there's a wall here in front of that barn. I've got no idea what's going on that side of the farm. This field's here, and that corner where those vehicles are driving at the moment has been changed. There's now an island, and the turns are smoothed out a bit. It's a very small map. We can show you that. Very small map. I'm playing without seasons, with the starting equipment. We started off with 2 tractors, 1 harvester, a planter, a cultivator, but all the fields are cultivated, so no big deal on that count. And then JCB skid steer, which I'm probably going to sell because I don't need it. All it's got attached to it is a what is it called? Fork for bales, and I don't plan to make any bales on this map. So I'll get to here. That will turn it on, and I can probably turn the blinky lights off because we're just going to go and plant this field. And there's no traffic to get anywhere. And we also got a pallet of seed, a pallet of fertilizer, and a pallet of liquid fertilizer. This seeder lays seed and fertilizer at the same time. We don't have a fertilizer spreader, and we don't have a fertilizer spray. So in order to use those, we're going to have to buy one. And as you see, we don't have a lot of them. Oh, I know why. Okay. Also part of our starting equipment, we have a beehive. So while we started with 15,000 in cash at the beginning, we've now got 15,023 because the bees are making us money. I did play about 200 hours on this farm just before Seasons was released, and this farm was made Seasons ready. Actually, it was a lot smaller back when it started. The other thing I mentioned at the beginning was because this map is so tight, It's a lot easier to use equipment that mounts on the 3-point hitch as opposed to being trailed like the Cedar I use on Lawfolds, which turns behind the tractor and you have to do all sorts of shenanigans to reverse it cleanly. And obviously with fields this size, with a fence there and another farmer's field in front of us and the house behind us right up against this field, you kind of don't want to be spending all your time trying to get your planter in the right place. This one automatically follows where the tractor is. One of the mods I did load was the clock at the top right hand side, so I can see what the real time is. But that's the only sort of luxury mod, shall we say. I do not have GPS, I do not have the quick look mod, I do not have glance, I do not have anything else. This is all base, but I want to see what the time is, so I did load that mod. Probably do this down here again. And this field has a dirty great big power line pylon on it. I think you can drive through it, but it's still in the way. When I played this the first time through, I turned this into a grass field because it's just easier. But since we don't have any grass tending, mowers and what have you, I don't want to be wasting my time planting grass before I can actually harvest it. I want to make the money while I can. I'm missing bits here, but as I said, it's more important to get a field planted than it is to fill in the gaps, but waste time filling in the gaps. Still could do with another line there. This is a European map, yes. I'm not sure whether it's a tiny village in Germany or a tiny village in France. If you speak either language, you might get a clue from the road signs when we go past one. The other thing with planting soybeans is they do not use a lot of seed. So I think we probably started with 500. Actually no, we started with a little more than 500. We've still got over 490 with one field already done. Obviously when I start up in Farm Sim 19, this is pretty much the level of what we're going to have to use. And you start off with the smaller equipment and a little bit of money, and you work your way up as you can afford it. But with this map, you've got the added constraint of, well, yeah, I could buy a large combine harvester, I could buy a large seeder, but this field is way too small to be able to wield them. I mean, there's no way you could bring a header into this field and then attach a harvester to it without theoretically destroying some of the crop. I do not have crop destruction loaded, so that's not an issue. That may be French. So once all the fields are planted, we then have to wait for them to grow. I will maybe sell some of the produce in our silo in order to buy a little bit more equipment, like a fertilizer spreader, maybe another pallet of fertilizer. Maybe a mower would be useful, because without seasons running, grass is I wouldn't say valuable, but it's a commodity we can sell, and we own all of the grass fields on this map. However, I'm not sure they're ready to mow yet. Considering the state of the rest of the map, all we got was all our fields are cultivated and that's it. I haven't bothered ploughing because I would need to plough and then cultivate again, which delays me getting stuff in the ground. Also, I don't have a plough, so while I could spend some money and buy one, it delays getting seed in the ground and actually starting to turn a profit. Driving all over the field like this after you put seed in it probably isn't healthy for the crop, but the game doesn't actually worry about that until you get to fertilising and it's grown and you have crop destruction on. Like I said, I'm not running any of the mods. I think I loaded a couple of equipment mods, but I don't have them selected at this point. Because I can't afford to buy them yet. One is a tiny trailer that I can attach to the back of the pickup truck, which is kind of handy to run wool to the store, bring pallets back to the farm, that type of thing. I think the other thing I did when I played this farm originally, I was converted one of the grass fields to a crop field. So effectively this became grass and one of the grass fields became a crop field because it was easier to get a harvester into. Okay, that's nearly field 2 done. No, forwards. Go forwards. Okay, that's 2 small fields planted. Turn that off. We've done that one, that's grass, that's grass, that's grass. That one needs planted. Currently it's cultivated, so that's okay. 15's ready. Oh, I know where that one is, yep. And this map got an update which added, I think, field 18. 17, 16, and this area here which you can develop as a second yard. Yeah. So we want to go 16 and 17 are big fields. I'll probably try and plant 15 first because it's small. Nobody coming. So yeah, this junction's changed a little as for 19. This bridge is also a pain. So the traffic comes both ways over it. If you're trying to move big equipment through town, you almost need a police escort to close the bridge off. Okay. So this is another starter field. Soybeans on this one too. Am I? Oh. I'll move it closer. How's that? Might pick up more steering wheel noises, of course. Here is the old stream, after which the farm is named. So yeah, when you start a farm, first thing to do is look at the equipment you have. For Farm Sim 17, you press the P button and then select the garage. And from there I've got that tractor, the front loader's on that tractor. I've got a bucket, I've got pallet forks, I've got this JCB with a bale fork, bale spike. harvester and header, tiny little trailer, cultivator, planter, truck, washer, and a bee house and a shack. So that's what we were given to start with. I don't have a plough, so I'm not going to be ploughing any of the fields. The plough only gives you an extra 10% yield, but it does run for 3 harvests, so it can be worth doing. But not right now, because I'd class that as an expense and a time waste. Probably the first expense I want to make as far as these fields is concerned is to get a spreader or a sprayer and fertilise the field, because fertilisation will get me an extra 30% yield each application. So as I said, because we're putting down fertiliser in this seeder, that's 130% yield on these fields. Oh yeah, I'm running sound out of the speakers, but I don't have the microphone input directed at the speakers. However, I am running surround sound, so you might be getting some feed off the side speakers. The only problem with these hard-mounted seeders is they're not very wide. Check my loan level either. Yeah, the equipment's new, so that's good. We have £100,000 loan, so I'd like to pay that back as soon as possible, because it costs us money daily to service it. Okay, that's that field done. Oh, that half of the field done. So Old Stream Farm will be featured in Farm Sim 19 when it's released, when the farm is released. Up until that point we will be playing the farms that Giants give us. I was thinking of adding the compass mod, but I thought, no, that's kind of cheating, because I'd actually be using it to try and figure out what sort of line to take down the field. I think I'm drifting right. also while I've got another tractor available, I'm not going to be using it because it costs money to hire helpers, and we're almost broke at the moment. Next week when I play with Seasons, I will sell pretty much all of the starting equipment. I'll make sure I have a tractor. I probably won't have a harvester to start off with, because I don't need one until it's harvest time. However, I will probably get some, some mowing equipment, because we've got so many grass fields. Because of the speed and, I could say, randomness of playing with standard rules, you kind of want all your equipment, at least some of the equipment, because I could run out of time today, so we'll fast wind through the night, and then these 3 fields could be ready to harvest before the next ones, and once they're harvested I want to get seed back in them so that they're still producing money. We do start off with a lot of fields, but they're not very big. With Goldcrest, I think you started with 3 fields, and one of them was ready to harvest, one of them was ready to plant, and one of them needed cultivating. So you could get your harvester out and start a worker on harvesting while you went off and planted another field. No, don't get me. Thank you. Well, it's worth playing the starter farms because you have the basic tutorials to start off with, and that will teach you how and what to do things. And even I'm going to play the tutorials because there's going to be things that are different. But then you saw, did you see all the little question marks that were dotted around the farm when I started the game? They're kind of helpers that tell you what's what and where it is and stuff like that. But on Goldcrest, they were, okay, go and find the harvester, get in it, attach the header, and start harvesting this field. And then once you got started and you were sort of halfway down the length of the field, it says, okay, now hire a worker, jump out of the harvester, and go and find a tractor. And it would highlight where it wanted you to go on the map, and you go there and do what it told you to. So it basically started you off your first 3 fields of field work, and then it basically said, okay, now you know what you saw in the tutorials, just go out there and do whatever it is you want to do. So I will be playing one of the starter maps. I'm not sure at this point which one. And then as the mod maps are released, I'll give consideration to moving to one of those as a more permanent home, at least until I get bored with it. But to start off with, I want to experience everything and not necessarily do it well. One of the achievements in 17 was go bankrupt, so I managed to do that by buying too much equipment and not making enough money. And very quickly you learn just work within your means. So I would like a bigger tractor. I can't afford a bigger tractor, so I'm not going to get one. Because if I borrow a ton of money and buy one, I've got no income to pay the loan. And that was the mistake I made on one of my playthroughs. But it got me the achievement, so yay! Is that a power owner? That's a power owner. But no, that's just me missing bits of the field. Never mind. Okay, drop that there. How are we doing with seed? 200. Because there's a hill there and I don't want to get stuck on it. So with a trail to planter, that manoeuvre is quite difficult. Working this map is hard work because the fields aren't square, they aren't convenient for turning around. Just you end up driving all over the place. There we go. Back. for a guided tour. So, on the right here is the cattle market. That's where we buy our sheep, cattle and pigs, or sell them. Grass fields are on our right that we can mow. Actually, that does look like it's fully grown. So, that's always a possibility. This is the village, and down here that's where the wool shop is. There's all sorts of little back cut-throughs and what have you. That there is where you sell all of the grains. Hay, wheat, hay, straw, grass, and anything else that you might have. Up on our left is another field, which will... This is a big field. It's going to take time to plant. Now this is a sort of field that you can do a trailed planter on. Because it is big, and this planter is going to take ages to work it. However, there's a bunch of trees and rocks down the end that do get in the way. Just like that. There's a nice little forest here with trees you can cut down. This field wasn't included on the map when the map was originally released in its 1.0 stage. I really don't understand why they gave you sort of the 2 of the 3 new fields that they added, because they are kind of oversized for the equipment you have. But we'll fly with it. Still have seed in the back. do now is I'll get back to the middle. Go back to going up and down. There's a long way to go. Seed before we run out of fertilizer. The other thing is planting on the long side of the field means that you get the job done quicker because you have to make fewer turns. However, when you've got things like the trees and the rocks at the bottom of the field, you do need to go across the field a couple of times in order to give you enough room to turn around. Technically you should do that after you've planted the middle of the field, because I'm driving over seed and that's really not a good plan. To there. Oops. Drop that. Don't get out the tractor. You don't need to. So, since Arthur's not getting hold of Farm Sim 19 until the 15th, tomorrow will be a Warship stream. I plan to start around 6:30. Usually Arthur joins around 7. And it'll be a combined stream from then onwards. We usually end up with 3 of us, although the third person is kind of random. Tuesday I will be streaming Lawfolds after 8 o'clock. Thursday I will be streaming Lawfolds probably from around 6:30. Friday is normally Arthur and Friends, but Arthur's not doing any multiplayer stream this week because obviously he's the only one who's going to have Farm Sim 19, and he sold everything in his 17 farm. The following week on Monday the 19th we are planning to do Warships again, although we may have more idea about that close to the day. And then from Tuesday the 20th onwards I will be streaming Farm Sim 19 instead of 17. Although I think I'm going to do Saturday mornings. I wake up early, my wife doesn't get up until later in the morning. So I may do some early stream on Lawfolds again for a while, even while 19's available. That was the novelty about this map when it came out for 17, was because it's small fields and a small map. It's ideal for the smaller equipment, which after you've started a farm, you tend not to use anymore. So, you know, playing on Goldcrest, you started off with this tractor and the blue New Holland that I have. I think you actually had 2 case tractors, but you kept them for one harvest, and then you were moving up to sort of the larger 200 horsepower tractors and then 300 horsepower tractors, because you could afford it. The fields were big and you needed big equipment, and this thing couldn't haul a 12 metre seeder if it tried. Well, it could, but it would only do it at 1 mile an hour. And you just ended up getting bigger and bigger equipment, much like Norfolks. I mean, I've got 370 horsepower tractor, 12 metre equipment, which is perfectly adequate for all the fields. If I needed to do more work, I would need to get another tractor and another set of 12 metre equipment, but I'm not going to get a 100 horsepower tractor and a 2 metre plough to do any work on lawn fields, because it would take me days. But this farm forces you to use them, because you couldn't get a 12 metre plough or 12 metre spreader into some of these fields, because the entrances are too small, there's buildings on both sides. Out of seed, so we will have to go shopping in a minute. 4 left. Three, 2, come on 2, come on 1. We are out. Now I do have half a pallet left at the farm, but I think the shop's a little bit closer and we haven't been there yet, so there's another narrow bridge. Ooh. Yep. Oops. What did that for? I'm going to do that. Okay. Nobody coming. Optional stop sign. Yay. And I don't have the light mod, so the turn signals don't cancel. So on our left here we have a sort of placeables area. I put greenhouses in there when I played this the first time through, and then just on our left here is the store. And we need pallets of seed. Placed at the back here. Now we'll need fertilizer eventually, but I've used 56% fertilizer so far, so not really in a big hurry to order that. So that's now taken us below 15,000. Is this the right side of the road to drive on? Yeah. Let's see where I'm going. Okay. It's a nice little village. And because it's seasons ready, when we play this with seasons, the trees will change colour in the fall. Although I'm not sure how far I'll get in 2 hours of play. Down here. Oops, right there. Trees right on the edge of the field. too fast on the pedals, and don't wait until the tractor's fully stopped before I try and make it go backwards. I'm going to fill that one up because that's a long strip. That got missed. Okay. So, now we've got the other side of the field to do. course, the other problem with trying to use helpers on these fields is they're such irregular shapes that you spend up half your time fixing the bits they missed. So I would actually like to stick this on a helper and get the the produce we have at the farm sold, so I've got a little bit more money. think maybe I'll do that. Much of this field left to go. Off it goes. Okay. Load wheat, yes. The folks stick the spikes in the sky. Try not to crash into any cars. So I didn't look if the price was any good. Effectively, this is all free starting money, so I just have to work for it a bit. Ow. The way bridge, and so the point is just up here. I think I fell in the ground. Yep, I fell in the ground. Okay, 2,500 for the barley should be approximately the same value. Don't know how much of that I've got. One of the things to consider when hiring a worker is if the worker's not making you money, then or not allowing you to make some money, it's probably not a good idea for you to use them when you don't have any money. So in this situation, the worker's not making me any money. It's setting me up to make money in the future. However, this tractor is making me money because I am selling stuff. Potentially yes. I would consider that a bug in the map. I would be very upset if my tractor took damage from it. I wonder where my bucket is. I know they plan that as you use, okay, trailer say to 8,000 litres, so I'm not going to bother with just 11. That's almost a full tank, so we'll need to send that. But that's just a matter of wear and tear. Well, trailer's 8,400 litres. Maybe. Still don't know where my shovel is. So I don't know if you'll take damage from crashing into stuff, or whether it's just me driving around is putting hours on the tractor, so I've now got half an hour on this tractor. As time passes, I'm going to put more hours on it and it's going to lose horsepower and get old. That's a way to encourage you to constantly renew your vehicles. Is your 200 horsepower tractor only has 120 horsepower left in the engine. It can't do the jobs you used to do with it. You're going to need a new larger tractor, as well as buying larger tractors because you're buying larger equipment. That's not going to be a thing on this farm. There's only 3 or 4 fields that we can actually use larger equipment on. We always have to keep at least some small equipment to work the smaller fields. Okay. What did we make? About 2,600 for the wheat. Should be approximately the same. 2,700. So the barley's worth a little bit more. Where was that? Yeah, by 11 bucks. The canola's worth a lot. We got almost 2 trailers of that. I'll probably just take a trailer of each for now. This is only a small trailer, but the nice thing about it is it has a hitch at the back, so you can hitch another one to it. On Goldcrest, I hitched 4 of them together and used them to feed the pigs. I'd run over to a silo, load it up with what I wanted, and then run over to the pig trough, empty each one in succession, and take what was left in the trailers back to the silo. They don't have covers. They are multi-sided tips, so you can tip left, tip right, tip back. They don't have a grain door, so you can't do a limited tip. There is a mod, I believe, that allows you to have contractors and give them names. but as randomly assigned in game, they're letters of the alphabet. Okay, so we've sold. Oops. Paying attention. There's a rail fork on the front of that thing. Okay, so we sold all the barley. It's almost 2 trailers worth of canola. There's the shovel. Okay. Good to know. If I was going to play this farm longer, I would need the shovel very soon. Glance, I don't know what our seeder's doing. Faster than you, haha. Has he stopped? Hard to tell. May have to go and check on him. Ooh. Nope, he's still going. So 6,600 for the canola. We've got almost a second trailer. I'm not going to use. I'm going to try and make sure that I just bring full trailers initially. I think with the contractor mod you can limit the number of workers you have as well. As the for the native game, with no mods, you can have 1 helper per vehicle. $8,400. Okay, let's send some sunflowers. not much faster than the traffic on this map. So I don't fall in the ground if I don't put my wheels in the drainage grill. So another 6,600. So all of these crops is not enough to pay back the loan, but it is enough to buy additional equipment if I want it. $32,000. Drop that off there. I'm going to go back to the store. Oh, Helper B has completed their task. Let's see how well they did. If the suicidal pedestrians are still here. Oh yeah, coming through. Oh. So, there's a question mark over there. Let's go and have a look at it. This is the vehicle shop. This is where you can fix your vehicles. Or change the wheels or stuff like that. So, I have a seeder, I have a cultivator. What I don't have is either a fertilizer spreader or a sprayer. Getting one of those would add, even just that one, 6,300. It's got a 12-meter spread width, which is adequate. And every time I run one of these over a field, it adds 30% to the field's yield. So that's a good thing to have. The other alternative is a sprayer, 24,000 or 30,000, very expensive. So that tiny little solid spreader is sufficient. That's the next cheapest one I have loaded, which has a spread width of 24 meters, twice what that has. But I've got small fields, so I could be wasting a ton of it if I bought that. So that will be a good thing to think about purchasing, just for the crops that are in the ground right now. The other thing I have is a whole bunch of grass fields and no way to get the grass off. So we look in here, 9,000 for that one, 11,000 for that one, 12,000 for that one. That has a 3.2 meter width, that has a 3.1 meter width, really nothing in it. 70 horsepower needed, 90 horsepower needed. We'll go for the smaller one because we have small tractors. And then we need a method of picking the grass up. That would either be, why am I there? Baling technology, because baling technology. That would either be that, which is 58,000, or a loading wagon, which is only 31,000. I don't have enough at the moment, but I've still got some more crop left in the barn. But using a loading wagon, because my silos can take loose straw, hay, grass and what have you, this is possibly a better option than buying the baler. Although with a baler I can run it round and create bales one time, then I have to load them onto a trailer. With this I would have to keep running back to the yard to unload it every time it got filled. But I'd consider that, and where's the mower? That one, I can put that on the front of this tractor because it has a front hitch, and the loading wagon on the back, and just do it as one pass. Loading wagon is long though, so I may have problems with it getting it around a field. So let's have a look at that one. That's 125 horsepower. That needs 70, and that needs 60. 70 plus 60, 130. So I am overloading the tractor by quite a bit. That tractor's 145, but it doesn't have a front 3-point, so I can't do anything about that. So things like that, next week when I look at seasons, I would be looking at, I want 145, 160 horsepower tractor with a front 3-point hitch and the forks. So since I can't afford a loading wagon, I definitely can't afford a baler. I'm not going to get a mower. I have to wait till the stuff grows before I can run the spreader over it, but I would be looking at, I will buy that spreader when I need it. Yes. Yeah, Kevin, that's what I'm going through here. I've got a small harvester, I don't need anything else. Is there... I could get a bigger tipper, that's the one I have. I could get that one, which is 8,000. That one is 15,000. The thing is, that one's adequate for what I've got. And I think if I look at the harvester, we've got the New Holland, 6,400. Can't even fill the smallest trailer. I could look at equipment. Tedders, that'll make hay, but that's 11,000. Now obviously when I run seasons, I'm going to need one of those because the grass will decay, so I want stuff turned into hay as soon as possible. I could get a chainsaw, but then I can use this. I would have to hand cut very, very small pieces of wood, and they're not very valuable, or I would need a chipper. That sucks. That's huge. So I wouldn't get into forestry at this stage, although it is a good way to make money. Anyway, so we've looked at the store. So that's my considerations. I don't think I can. Let's pull up the shop for that tractor. It's a what is it? Case 1455 XL. Front loader attach. No, that's a front loader. So that gives me the arms. Wheel setup, standard wide tyres. That's all I've got available. I think that's the other one I've got, which allows a front loader attacher. Yes, no. Standard and wide tyres only. So I really don't have a tractor that I could run a fertiliser with, because they've all got tyres that would damage crops if I was running crop destruction. Now an alternative would be that's 85. The T5, which is a more modern tractor, that has the ability to have front loader attachers on it. You can, what's the engine size? It's only 100 horsepower, but it has an engine upgrade to 117, and the wheel setup allows for narrow tyres, wide tyres and standard. So narrows works with the spreader and doesn't destroy the crops if you're running crop destruction. This is the next one up, which does involve a 3-point hitch at the front. Can run a front loader. Is base 105 horsepower, 130, so that can get up to 130 horsepower, and just has the standard and narrows. Is the Case 14.5 XL the one I have? Ah, yes. Okay, and that's 145 horsepower and has no upgrades. What's the AgroStar like? AgroStar just has tyre makeup. You can't put a front loader on that, so I wouldn't consider it. The T6's quite versatile. It allows a front loader. It's 143 horsepower or 163. Standard narrow. Or the one I generally prefer as a starter tractor. You've got a front loader, yes or no. You've got from 145 horsepower to 185 horsepower. You can change the colour. Yeah, whatever. It can have narrow, wide or standard tyres. So the Valtra is quite a versatile tractor, and I used to use that all the time as my starting tractor. Then you're into the Fendt 700, which is 165 base, or 200, 240. That's a big tractor. Front loader attacher, yes, no, and that has quite a functional set of tyre. You can put wheel weights on, so you don't have to have a weight on the back when you're running the forks. Wide tyres, narrow tyres, wear trends and standards. But kind of expensive. Okay, what I'm looking for is, let's get out and raise that. That's it. Okay. This thing here is a 3-point hitch, which is what I can fit that mower to the front of. This thing here is a front loader, which the attacher is at the back here, and that allows me to attach forks or bale spikes or shovels to the front of the tractor and do other stuff with it. So this is quite a versatile tractor as far as this farm's concerned, but it doesn't have a lot of horsepower. The case is an American style tractor, which basically replaces that front 3-point hitch there with a weight. So you don't have to attach a weight when you've got a heavy piece of equipment on the back of the tractor, but you can't attach equipment to the front of the tractor because of it. This tractor, I have the option. If I needed to fit a weight to the tractor, I could just put a weight on the front of the tractor. So it's a little bit more versatile in the equipment, but less so because of the engine power output. Now, fortunately, I'm not running the realistic fuel mod, which drains power not just for the equipment but also for the the road, the angle of the road you're driving up or down, and also the weight of the tractor. You have to have sufficient to do all of those things. But I don't have the real fuel mod usage loaded, so that's not an issue as far as we're concerned today. So that's all our soybeans. So that's the sort of thing you need to think about when you start up a farm, is what equipment do I have, what's it capable of doing. So as far as mowers are concerned, on Lawfolds I have that one and that one, and I run that on a 340 horsepower tractor because that's 160, that's another 70, that's 230, and then Lawfolds has some nasty hills on the fields, and a 200 horsepower tractor is capable of doing about 2 miles an hour up those hills with the mowers running. On this farm I don't have a tractor big enough to run the twin rear mower attachment, so no point spending my money on it. I'm looking for stuff I can use on the tractors I have and that I need right now. And I consider I need right now something to mow fields with, and something to bring, to lift the grass off the fields. Because mowing the fields and having grass on the fields is no use to me. I want to bring the grass somewhere else. Obviously I can't buy sheep at the moment because I can't afford sheep and I can't feed them. And I'd also need a water tank as well, so that they could drink something. I mean, I could feed them for a while because I do have 10,000 litres of hay, 10,000 litres of grass in the silo in the farm, and that would be enough to be going on with, and they could be generating me wool. Maybe I should look at that. Miscellaneous? Nope. Animals. So small tanker, call it 10,000. 7,480 from that. And we'll go the other way. Probably German. I didn't go back and look at the planting dude. So sheep are 4,000 each. 4 sevens are 28. 4 sevens 28? Yes. So I could afford to buy 7 sheep and a water tanker. And then hope they make enough wool to buy mowers and stuff before we run out of food for them. 7 sheep don't eat that much. It's an option, but maybe not a wise option right now. I think we still have some corn to sell. Oh, I could also sell the JCB. So I really don't need that because I'm not going to be creating any bales. Maybe we will. We have a truckload of that. So, JCB, garage, sell, yes, sell, yes. I could make more money from it if I took it to the store, but to be perfectly honest, it'd take me an age to get it there. Now we're up to 76,000. Now we can afford the mowing kit and the loading wagon. We can't run them at the same time, so I would have to mow with this tractor and then go and get the loading wagon, pick up with the loading wagon on its own. Not a problem, but yeah, if you can do a job faster, that can be a benefit. Past it. 3,500. So corn not quite so valuable. Okay, where's my other tractor gone? Missed a bit there. Huh. Missed a tiny bit there. Missed a tiny bit there. Missed a tiny bit there. Missed a whole lot down here. Turn in. Try that one again. Okay. Straight through there. There's a bit. Because when I did it, I wasn't very straight. I wasn't strictly north-south or east-west. And unfortunately, workers do drive in straight lines by the compass points. So if you get it wrong, they're going to miss bits. Don't have follow me, so I'm going to have to drive these back separately. Good enough for government work. Okay, that's done. Now another option you do have is I could sell both the tractors and buy a larger horsepower one which has the front loader and the 3-point hitch on the front and is capable of running with narrow tyres, so that I could run a fertiliser over planted fields. But maybe I just look at this now and say, well, I've got 30% bonus on the fields because this is running with fertiliser, so I don't need to worry too much about fertilising it again. I believe this is mine. Oh, I forgot all these trees around here. Good grief. Okay, I'm going to set that off on the worker again. He's not going to have any of it, so we'll lower that and start driving. And then once we're moving, then we'll switch to a worker. And off he goes. What are you doing, dude? Seriously. That is not done. Okay, fine. We will go to the top of the field and go across. See if that works any better. Off he goes. Now here, that field's done. So this amount of money I could buy, what, not quite 20 sheep, take 3 off, so about 17 sheep and a water tender. That's going to produce wool a lot quicker. I do miss the glance mod here as well. Okay, that's everything in the silo that I want to sell right now. So I'm just going to park the trailer in here for want of anywhere better to put it. Spiky bits back over here. Oh, back up. No. Oh. There we go. Now I can go back to the store. cause the tractor to twitch out. Okay, so this time I got the money. So mowers, that one. And a loading wagon. That little cheap one. So with that purchase, I am now capable of cutting grass and collecting it, which will make me money. Now, while this combined set of equipment requires 130 horsepower, that's only when it's running. Thank you. The tractor is perfectly capable of moving it. It's what I do on Lawfolds with the little Massey Ferguson. I can move a plough that requires 280 horsepower and park it, because the Massey Ferguson has much better turn radius than the Claas. So I can get the equipment out and put it away with the Massey Ferguson. But when I'm out on the fields, the Massey Ferguson just has no chance of operating any of that equipment. So we now have a mower and we have a trailer to pick things up with. And that tractor is capable of moving this stuff. So I could take the mower to a field and the loading wagon to a field. Detach the loading wagon. I believe there's a shed directly behind me, like here. Hello, open sesame. There we go. Oh, that's the silos. But that's also just the right size for this loading wagon. No, the chickens are just there. I'm not sure if there's anything about that determines how many chickens you have. But on all the maps I know of, there's chickens. So this is 7 o'clock in the evening. And over here, there's a whole bunch of eggs. Yay. And that's one of the things I like about this farm, is all the eggs get laid there. And we now have, oh, there, 12 eggs already. Now, where's the other tractors trying to do stuff here? Ooh. Well, colour me crazy. He's actually doing it. And just over here, There's a small patch of ground you can put a placeable on if you want. That's one of the on-farm silos. That's another one. And there's a third, which is open-ended. And then there's a little track down the side so you can get past them all. Now the nice thing about having 2 or more silos is I could be loading this one up. When it's full, I can cover it over, and then I can start loading this one up, and as soon as that turns into silage, I can uncover it and feed the cows with it while I'm still making the next batch. The problem with Lawfolds is there's only one on-farm silo, so I fill it, I cover it, and as soon as it's fermented I can use that silage, but I can't I can't prepare another batch until that one's all used up, and when that one's all used up I then have no silage to feed the cows, so that's always an issue with a single silo on the farm. There's quite a lot of storage in here. This is where the pigs live. Not sure where their manure's held. That's an interesting point. Oh, yes I am. I believe the manure is in here. So that's where the pig manure is. And this here's the pig slurry. I think that's liquid fertilizer. Yeah, that's the liquid fertilizer, but we don't have a sprayer, so in here is where the cows live. Food trough, cows walk out the back here. Open sesame. I think that's the water trough, and then their unload point is here, and that's their manure pit, or slurry. No, that's their slurry pit. I must admit, I don't know where the cow's manure is either, off the top of my head. Oh, let's run through and shut the other gate. Oh, there it is. That's where the cow manure appears. So, it's quite a small, tidy little farm. And then right over at the front here, chickens wandering around. This is where the sheep live. Food troughs here, the water trough I believe is on the side. And the wall appears there. And the only other place we hadn't been was the BGA, which is map. Find the map, find the map. There it is. And this is the BGA plant, which quite conveniently has a ramp up to the digester, which unfortunately you can't reverse a trailer up and tip it into the digester because it doesn't like that. You've got 2 bunkers there, and the digestate tank is where that little yellow line is over there. But I can't move, I'm stuck here. So anyway, that's the farm as it sits. It'll be interesting to see what it looks like for 19. Jump. Yay. I know from the pictures there's an island here and a stop line. Hi truck. So the roads are possibly wider. I'm fairly sure they're not going to make the entrances to these fields any more friendly than they currently are. So, state of play at the moment, we did not touch field 17. We're currently planting field 4. All of the other fields we own, we managed to plant, and it's not quite nightfall, so I would have to plant that field tomorrow. I'm going to have to tidy that up because he's not doing a particularly good job, even though this field is actually square enough. These fields are actually ready to harvest. I could do contract work on these fields, but I don't have the time because I need to get crop in the ground so that it's making me money. Everything needs ploughing, but these fields, because they my seeder has a fertilizer applicator, has given me 1 level of fertilization. And everything soybeans because boring. Soybeans are the most valuable crop per 1,000 litres. Unfortunately, you don't get much of a yield from the field, so it ends up working about the same amount of that. But when you consider the size of my equipment, it's a small harvester, it's a small trailer, this is an ideal crop for the amount of work you have to do to turn it in. How much is wool worth? Wool is worth almost nothing. And so what did we do today? We spent £42,000 on new vehicles. We sold £37,000 of stuff. And we... oh, right. We bought the mower and the thing, and we sold the JCB. And on top of that, we sold £29,000 of stuff in the silos, and we still have that's almost a full trailer load and bits. So I may deliberately make a trip on that one, but now because I've got the mower, I would be looking tomorrow on to get that field planted, so I might do it on a worker, and then I want to get all of these grass fields mowed and the grass probably sold. I don't need that much of it, but I can sell the grass here. Press the right button, dude. Getting rid of straw and hay. If you have surplus straw or hay bales, you can place them here and receive some money in return. I think you can sell loose there as well, I'm not sure. There's nothing there. I think these are fertilizer dispensers. Why can't I move? There we go. And that might be a seed dispenser. I generally don't use dispensers because they cost more. I did a test earlier today on Lawfolds and discovered that the seeds out of the dispensers do actually cost twice as much as the seeds from the store pallets. So still much cheaper to buy pallets. Anyway, it's now 10:30 in the evening. It's almost 8 o'clock game time. That's pretty much the end of the first day. This field's coming along nicely. He's costing us a fortune in money. And he's not doing a very good job of it. So, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you for watching. And next week, I will be doing exactly the same thing, but with seasons running. So I will sell all of the starting equipment and select equipment that is more appropriate to what I need to do and give me far more money available in order to survive until fall, when I can start harvesting the grains that are planted. But I'll explain all that next week. Tomorrow is going to be boating with Arthur. So I'll see anybody who's interested in that tomorrow. Good night and have fun.